Hey guys, welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit, Am I the A-hole? This one's from user Last Kid. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents they only have one daughter and she is 6 feet in the ground? This all started when I was 12 years old and my younger sister was 10. Let's call her Abby. Well, Abby started to get sick and no one in the family knew what was going on. I started to be dropped off at my grandparents as they went to different doctors. I'm not going to go into her illness, but when the doctors figured it out, it was bad. So a lot of time was devoted to my sister. When I was 14, it got worse, and I started to be left at my grandparents for longer amounts of time. It started with just being the weekend, and then maybe the whole week. I would bring it up, and they told me that they have to focus on Abby. Soon, I was staying there for months. By the time I was 16, I was basically living there full time. I would maybe see my family every other month. If I texted them about the whole thing, the same response was always sent. We need to focus on Abby right now. I'm now 19 and Abby has passed away from her illness. Her funeral was 2 weeks ago and I attended through FaceTime. I got a call today from my parents and they wanted to meet up and be a family again. I told them that they abandoned one child for another. I am not their child anymore. That they only have one daughter and she is 6 feet under the ground now. I hung up. I've been getting texts calling me an a-hole and that I should understand that they needed to focus on Abby and to suck it up, basically. So, am I the a-hole? The judgment is not the a-hole. Now let's take a look at the top comments. Redoubtable South says, not the a-hole. Was it harsh? Yes. Was it deserved? Also yes. While I can sympathize with dealing with a terminally ill child, they still had another child that needed their love and attention too. A child that was losing her little sister, probably scared and lonely, and then effing abandoned for 7 years. Yes, Abby needed them, but you did too and they failed you miserably. And they failed Abby too, who might have enjoyed a relationship with her sister in the few years she did have to live. Crater Toad says, not the a-hole. As a parent who had a terminally ill child, I made sure that my other kids still knew that I loved them and even organized people to sit with my child in hospital while I spent quality time with my other kids. It's hard being a parent knowing that your child is going to die, but you don't ever push away your other kids. I am so sorry that you were abandoned by your parents, and I'm sending you huge hugs and love right now. You have every right to be angry at them, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise, as none of them were in your shoes. Take time to grieve for your sister and your lost relationship, and most importantly, please be kind to yourself. You do matter. Consistent Leopard 71 says, not the a-hole. While having a seriously ill child is challenging and will often take priority, it doesn't give your parents license to simply send their other child away and stop parenting them. They abandoned you, and now that your sister has passed away, they want to rug sweep their behavior and play happy family. It's completely understandable that you do not want to have a relationship with them. Therapy may be beneficial for you to process losing your entire immediate family. They need to respect your boundaries. Sorry for your loss and good luck. OP, I totally agree with the commenters. Your parents failed you horribly. And even though it's sad, you have absolutely every right to tell them to get bent and that they don't get to have a relationship with you now. You're an adult now, and they chose to miss out on you growing up and all of those experiences because they chose to focus on the other child. Now, I understand that they would want to focus on the sick child, of course, but that is no reason to toss your other child aside the way they did. I am angry at what your parents did to you. You did not deserve that at all. Your sister did not deserve that either. The other day in one of the comments of one of the other videos that I posted, somebody said that I'm always biased towards kids in my commentary. And yeah, of course I am. And I always will be. Why? Because adults have a responsibility to children. Now, you may or may not agree with me, and that's okay. But this is the way I think. I will always prioritize a child's interest before an adult's interest. So, OP, like that second commenter said, I hope you take the time to grieve your sister, even though you might not have known her very much because of what your parents did. And yeah, be kind to yourself. Your parents missed out. It's on them. And that's enough out of me at this point. So let's move on with the update to see what happened after this. So it's been around a month since I posted the original post. Thanks to everyone that gave their input. So after the post, I wrote out a very long letter explaining my feelings about how my parents treated me and how they abandoned me for 7 years. I talked about all the major events that they missed and all the years that I could have been with my sister but couldn't due to their decision. That I haven't been a part of the family ever since Abby got sick all those years ago. I talked about how my grandparents are more parents to me than they have been in these past years. That no matter the reason, they discarded me and acted as if their other kid didn't need their parents. That you may have lost Abby recently, but I lost my whole family a long time ago, and that I am not going to give an empty apology for what I said on the phone. I sent this letter, and it was radio silence for a bit, and in the meantime, I went to my first on-campus college semester and started to use the free therapy. My parents contacted me and asked if I would like to get dinner and to hear them out. I agreed. It was a very long conversation that boiled down to I'm willing to try to get to know my parents again under 2 conditions. And if they don't agree with them, I'm going to walk away since they are basically strangers at this point. 1, that we start to go to family therapy. 2, that they don't try to parent me. That position is for my grandparents only, and I am willing to try a relationship with them, but it won't be a parent-child relationship. They didn't seem happy with these conditions, but accepted. We went to our first family session a few days ago, and our relationship is still rocky, but I think it is going better. I may be able to forgive them someday, but that day is far in the future. Well, OP, you are definitely a better person than I am, because I'm not sure I would have met up with them. Maybe would have seen them for family gatherings, but what they did, I don't know if I could forgive. But again, that's because you're better than me, so congratulations, and hopefully the whole therapy and you trying to rebuild this relationship with them will work out for all of you. I do hope that your parents took ownership of what they did and didn't try to excuse themselves for tossing you aside, because there is no excuse for that. Anyways, I'm not gonna get carried away with this type of commentary, so let's move on to another post. This one's from user Swiper Noses Wiping. Am I the a-hole for spending my dad's money on a trip with my aunt instead of stepmom? A little background. I, 17 female, lost my mom April 2020. My parents divorced when I was really young, but I've kept in touch over the years with my dad to ask for financial help with schools, trips, etc. Other than that, he told both my mom and I to not keep in touch unless necessary. Ever since my mom's passing, I've been living with my dad. I don't know the details, but my mom and dad never had a friendly relationship, and I can tell my dad really didn't like her, but to me, she was my single working mom and I really miss her. My dad's new wife, my stepmom, is okay, but she acts a bit tense around me and tries too hard. I don't think she likes my mom either, since she tells me to stop when I talk about her. I feel like my dad is pushing for us to get close, but I don't see that happening since I barely know either of them well enough. Plus, I'll always only have one mom. Here's where the problem starts. Back when I used to live with my mom, she used to work tons of shifts, get barely any rest, and work her damn hardest for me. I wanted to surprise her with a surprise vacation or a small trip for her to relax, but we couldn't afford it. So I started asking my dad for money every few weeks, saying I needed it for extracurricular courses. When I finally had enough, my mom passed away and I started living with dad and stepwife. I still had the trip money left over, so I called my aunt, mom's sister, to come with me for the trip. I don't know how, but my dad found out about the money I've collected and got really angry, but said he'd forgive me if I went on the trip with stepmom. Obviously, I didn't, and left with my aunt when he was away at work. My aunt and I had a blast on our small road trip, stayed at a motel, and basically just toured around in big wide open spaces. As a city child, I had a lot of fun in the countryside. When I came back, Dad was really mad and took away all my devices and grounded me, calling me an a-hole for not choosing to go with stepmom and using his money like a thief. I know what I did with lying about my courses and taking his money was wrong, but was it wrong of me to go with my aunt? She really reminds me of my mom and I missed her so much. My dad, his wife and extended family found out and are all calling me a petty thief and a liar. My stepmom has started ignoring me in the house too, and everyone keeps telling me to apologize, but I don't see where I did wrong with going with my aunt, who I feel closer to. Am I the a-hole? The judgment is not the a-hole. Now let's take a look at the top comments. Spiritual Phoenix says, not the a-hole. While the way you went about getting the money to finance the trip was not exactly kosher, you had every right to decide who to take with you. You chose to take someone you know and love, someone who is a close connection to your mother. The fact that you aren't close with your father or stepmother is their own fault. He was the one who chose to only support you financially and not emotionally, so he has only himself to blame. Is there a way for you to get out of their house? Could you go live with your aunt? They are emotionally abusing and isolating you because you didn't cower to their demands. And that is not okay. It could only get worse. I am so sorry for your loss. OP responds, thank you. I want to get out too, but I don't think my dad will allow it. Plus, my aunt is struggling financially, so I don't want to be a burden on her. I plan to move out and become independent when I can though. Heather Ann 1975 says, not the a-hole, because you are a kid and just lost your mother and have been forced to live with people who are practically strangers. I'm appalled the adults in your life are not giving you some grace for that fact. Listen, it was wrong to lie about the extracurricular stuff. I know that. You know that. But your heart was in the right place. And where else would you go for the money? And most importantly, you're a kid who wanted to help her mom. So, was it a dumb choice? Yes, it was. Does it make you an a-hole? Not at all. Your dad, on the other hand, is a huge and massive a-hole. He clearly neglected you your whole life. Don't keep in touch unless necessary? What the F is that? Even now that you're living with him, that does not make him some hero all of a sudden since he's basically emotionally neglecting you now. You just lost your mom, and since you're living with him and not someone else, she was likely everything to you. And he is being extremely immature and selfish about this trip and the money. If he was a real parent, he'd understand and try to help you. And the stepmom is no better. Ignoring you because you did not go on a trip with her? A grieving kid who just lost her mom? These people are so selfish and can't get their heads out of their own butts to act like a family. I know you're not asking for advice, but is there any way you can stay with your aunt? Indecisive Stacy. Everybody sucks here. Your dad sounds a little bit authoritarian, so good luck. But you shouldn't have lied about the reason why you needed the money, and his reasoning probably is that he gave you money for a specific reason. And he can determine what the reason is now since you lied about it. He could have even told you to give the money back. Okay, OP, so here's what I think. Were you the a-hole for taking your aunt and not your stepmom? No. Having said that, if the question would have been if you were the a-hole for the way you got the money for that trip, then definitely yes. However, in this story, to me, the biggest a-hole is your dad when he told you to not contact him unless it was for financial help. What the hell kind of parent does that? I don't care if you're divorced or not. You don't neglect a kid. Didn't we just talk about something like this? Anyways, you guys know how I feel about parents neglecting their children, so I'm not gonna go into all that rant again. I will say it's incredibly insensitive of your dad, your stepmom, and the whole extended family for the way they're treating you right after you lost your mom. Yes, you know it was absolutely wrong what you did to get that money. We all do, because it is wrong. However, their reaction to all of this and the names they're calling you, that's just insensitive. You're still grieving your mom, can't they see that? What do you guys think about this whole situation? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the update to see what happened after this. Thought it was about time I make an update post. Although my previous post was judged and the final verdict given was not the a-hole, I recognize my mistake and have since apologized to both dad and stepmom. Right now I'm working on paying them back through chores and helping around the house, and I'm getting there slowly. The total amount I took from my dad was $150 by the way. I got the money through lying because our city was in lockdown at the time and I couldn't get any jobs even if I wanted to. Plus, allowance was out of the question. Regarding child support, I don't know if my dad was paying it or not, since my mom told me not to talk about financial issues and stuff. Probably not to worry me. But I do know we didn't exactly live the high life. There was barely much to eat and my mom worked multiple jobs. We lived paycheck to paycheck. My dad is much better off financially. Stepmom has finally stopped ignoring me, but doesn't make much conversation. I've tried asking my dad why his relationship with my mom was so bad, and he said they had a forced marriage and not to talk about her since it would upset Stepmom and that she's currently pregnant. To be honest, I'm just really tired and miss my mom. Thanks to the people who gave me advice on what to do and how to move out and be independent. I'll work hard until then. Stay safe everyone. Bye. Well, OP, I have to say that it shows a lot of character the way you owned up to how you obtained that money, apologized for that, and are paying them back through chores and stuff. Having said that, I would actually ask how you guys are pricing the chores that you're doing, because I'd think $150 shouldn't take you so long to pay back. Honestly, I thought it was like $1,000 or something, but maybe my perception is just off. What do you guys think? Anyways, OP, if your final goal is to move out and be independent, and I don't know if you want to stay in touch with them, I really wouldn't care if your stepmom is ignoring you or not. She just seems petty, and the fact that they don't want you to talk about your mom, that's just sad. I don't care if they have a grudge against her, it's not your fault whatever happened between them. Anyways, I'm gonna stop myself before I get carried away once again. So I'll just say, OP, here's hoping that you get to be independent as soon as you can. Take care and stay safe. And so we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to reach our goal of 100,000 subscribers. Also, if you feel like chatting with others from this community, you can always join my Discord server and check out my subreddit. I'll leave the links in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video.